boy, do we take ourselves seriously in most organizations. And of course we have a purpose that is noble, I hope, and that's really meaningful to us. And of course there's money at stakes, and of course, you know, our jobs are at stakes, and so that deserves some level of respect. But think about it. I mean, you know, with our families and friends, I mean, you know, these things are in many ways even more important to us, and there we manage to get, you know, tons of laughs and to have lightness and humor, and so how come we don't in so many workplaces? I believe that at a very deep level, the fact that we're so serious, you know, just is part of this professional mask that we think we need to wear, and that makes us feel safe, that keeps everything at a distance, right? And so I think that laughter and humor and lightness and curiosity are things that break that mask, and so they're a pretty radical act of reclaiming our humanity in organizations. And I saw that in some of the organizations I researched, and if you read the book, you might remember this. For instance, at Heiligenfeld, they have this practice where they can start any meeting with a minute of silence or a joke. And they found, you know, that joke sort of does the same thing of, in some ways, taking you out of your concerns and your egos and just breaking something in the climate. It just breaks the ice in some way. The most amazing thing I remember was at this organization called Sounds True, where they had these days in pajamas. So some people had organized a breakfast, a pajama breakfast, which was fun early in the morning, and got together, and then the idea was to get changed and, you know, for the rest of the day wear your normal clothes. And so just, you know, a number of people wanted to do that and thought it was funny. And they thought it was so funny that for some reason they ended up staying the whole day in that way. And so this has snowballed into this big event where everybody now does it, and you know, people go really crazy and fancy and really find the most incredible outfit. And it sounds true, you know, dogs are allowed in, and then some people, you know, have the same pajama for their dogs. I mean, and it's interesting because Sounds True is an organization that still has sort of a traditional hierarchy, but there's something where when you see a manager in a silly pajama, well, you know, that just changes something in the relationship, you know, as humor and lightness simply does. And so I think it's an interesting invitation for you to look at the journey ahead and think about all the small and big ways where you could introduce humor and lightness and curiosity. And I don't know what it is, but I think really everything lends itself to it. I mean, think about it, like maybe you had reserved CEO parking spaces, and instead of simply abolishing it, maybe you can have a cool sign that makes fun of the fact that you used to have that kind of thing. Most offices are pretty bland and boring. How about a weekend where volunteers just get together and go pretty wild and redecorate and surprise everyone on Monday with some silly things that they've done? Or here's a personal experience. I once worked in a startup. Those were the crazy internet days, where we sold all sorts of things, among them plush animal toys. Except that they weren't sort of the cute variety, they were sort of the weird variety. They were all looking somewhat tired or sick or weird, or they were great fun. And I don't know how that came about, but every person who worked with us, every new joiner got to choose one of the animals and had them on their desk. And that would lead to all sorts of silly things where when we'd have meetings, they would have a meeting too, or they would have lunch together, or, you know, my plush animal would talk to your plush animal. I mean, yeah, it's silly, but it allowed us to have a different side of us come forward. And I think it was actually quite important. The other day I saw this really funny change management sort of bullshit bingo, sort of change resistance bullshit bingo. So I think if you Google change management bingo, you'll find it. It's sort of all of the sentence you hear that people say when they resist an invitation to change, right? Oh, but you know, maybe it can't be done here, or maybe we should analyze some more, or you know, all of these things. You know, having these things on the wall and people calling these things out, you know, maybe that's fun. I don't know what it is. But but just please, let's break that seriousness. I think there's a huge relief in lifting the mask of seriousness and just being able to be ourselves and in lightness and humor. And this might be a very personal invitation to you as a leader, to see, what role does humor and lightness play in your life? How much do you let that in? Or are you maybe sort of consumed by the earnestness of this journey that you're wanting everyone to invite in, or of the purpose of the organization? And is there maybe a longing for more lightness and more humor in your own life? And maybe that journey might be a way to get there. And maybe you don't have that right now in you to bring that, but are there some other people who might have that and simply need to get sort of the license to be able to do that? And could you just tip them and say, hey, could you help me bring lightness and humor? This is maybe not my thing, but go wild, just do stuff. Let's stop being these old bores that take themselves so seriously. Because I find that there is a paradox, and that is that the more lightness and humor you invite into an organization, the more you can actually also talk with real earnestness and depth about things that matter, about the organization's purpose, about how we treat one another. I think the more you can go in one direction, the more you can go in the other direction. What we have in most organizations is sort of this fake seriousness, this fake pretense, but we actually don't have real earnestness. I mean, we don't actually have these real deep conversations about how important and meaningful our purpose is. And so I think the more we can go to lightness, the more we can go into earnestness. Perhaps you've noticed there is no paywall, no monthly membership to access this video series. That's because the videos live in the gift economy. This is how it works. I gift everything that goes into making the videos, my time, energy, and insights, and you get to choose what feels right to gift back. Please take a moment to reflect on what would feel good to give in return to help me continue doing this work. Thank you.